We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. We're losing.
Puffy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Sean Combs. All of these reincarnations, all those name changes are attached to really bad deeds.
Everything in life, you're gonna have people that are bad and people that are good. You have to choose your side.
Sometimes you get to a point where money cannot save you. Money is not everything, maybe. What do you think? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Immaculate. And if it's your first time, please do not leave without subscribing. I need you back here, okay? Hello, guys. So, if you're not up to speed yet, Diddy documentary is out. And guess who's responsible? 50 Cent. What I'll say is, don't wish to have an enemy like 50 Cent, okay? I don't know what this is all about, but what I'm gonna say is, it doesn't sound like a documentary, it sounds like an expose as a revenge and all that stuff. Anyway, let me know, what do you think? Because this is too much. Comment down below. I'm reading your comments. I'm answering to it. I just wanna hear your opinion, okay? What's this?
So far, my biggest takeaway from this Diddy documentary is the most dangerous person you will ever meet is an insecure man. Because every single action that Diddy did that hurt somebody stemmed from his insecurity. And it is his childhood insecurity that stayed with him his whole life. And with him not dealing with that, it bred greed and jealousy within himself. He was envious of all the other people around him that he felt like he was better than, and he felt like he deserved their spot. And when he eventually did earn his place in the world, and people saw him for what he was as far as like having his talent, he still was envious and greedy. And it's so crazy because like when you're dealing with an insecure man that has as much greed and pride as Diddy does, nothing is ever enough for him. Diddy could have easily championed himself off of being the producer that's super forward thinking. Even though he's not musically talented, he can curate a vibe and he has a great ear for music. Diddy has one of the best ears for music, you know what I'm saying? As far as like in, not even just hip hop, but like music in general. Diddy is extremely talented in his own way, but since he's not talented in the way that he thinks is normal and other people think is like normal, he doesn't feel like it's enough. He has to take from other people. He has to take other people's spots. And that's why you see him constantly trying to steal side pieces from dudes. Constantly trying to force himself onto like his artist platforms and trying to make himself the centerpiece. And this is exactly what happens whenever you live under patriarchy and you're forced into a certain role that you can't uphold. I talk about this shit all the time, bro. And the part that really drove that point home for me was whenever they were talking about how Diddy was pretty much a soft kid. You know what I'm saying? He was getting his ass kicked all the time. And his mom was beating the hell out of him. And she did it to make him a stronger man. But whenever your core basis is to be soft and you're faced with extreme violence and you shrink back into yourself as a little boy, right? And your mother's forcing traditional masculinity onto you through violence and punishment, this is the result, bro. You grow up to be an insecure man that's constantly overcompensating to force himself into being the type of man that they think that they should be instead of just being the man that they want to be. You know what I'm saying? You're constantly overcompensating because deep down, you know that you're still that scared little boy, that soft little boy. And you feel like if you let your guard down and if you let this facade of traditional masculinity slip, everybody's going to see you for what you really are.
That key VD tape How has Diddy never been tried for Tupac's murder? Like, that tape is crazy. So I've just watched the first 2 episodes of this and I had to get on here because I could not believe what I was seeing. This documentary is literally like watching the most evil, manipulative, like, oh my gosh, just the most calculated narcissist being exposed in such a clear way. Like, everything he was doing was in plain sight. I'm sitting there and my blood is boiling. And let me not get started on the sacrifice, the 9 people who were killed when he over-promoted that gig at City College. And this was just before he blew up. And then it's like plain sight, the whole Biggie thing. He was supposed to go to Europe to do a tour. Next minute, he's holding a concert on enemy territory and he's coincidentally killed. And then this guy is elevated to the height of his career. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But this Tupac thing, the footage, the tape has never been shown before. It's never been fully released previously. So I'm hoping that this is going to bring some further charges. Because do you know what? Justice for Tupac.
The Diddy docuseries produced by 50 Cent just dropped on Netflix, and all you need to know is that 50 Cent has more receipts on Diddy than the literal FBI. And when I say he has receipts, I'm talking about 30-year-old, never-before-seen videos and audio recordings from Biggie, Tupac, and one of the craziest recordings that's never been heard before from one of Diddy's LA associates that tells the police what he claims really happened the night that Tupac passed away. The first 2 episodes aren't even about his trial or allegations, they're just about how bad of a person Sean Combs is, and his involvement with Tupac, Biggie, and their death. And the biggest takeaway was that Diddy was a very jealous and envious person who so badly wanted to be that guy. Even as a 19-year-old intern at Uptown Records, he would go after the biggest artist, Al B. Shore's girlfriend, Kim Porter. He always wanted to be the biggest guy and wanted what all the biggest artists had, which makes so much sense on why he was so jealous of Tupac. Because Tupac was everything that Diddy wasn't and what he so badly wanted to be, and what made him even more jealous was the connection that Tupac had with Biggie. Believe it or not, Tupac and Biggie had a good relationship early on. Tupac loved Biggie's first album and Biggie loved everything that Tupac stood for. And they were becoming good friends, so Diddy, being the control freak he was, wanted to intervene and start working with Tupac. But Tupac refused. He didn't care about working with Diddy and only wanted to work with Biggie. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I could make a part 2 explaining further, but I think you should check it out for yourself because the first 2 episodes were extremely interesting. There's never before seen footage, and I think it's a must watch if you're into the 90s hip-hop era.
At the end of the day, sometimes it's okay to blame a man mama. He childhood friend in the documentary and he like, yeah, we ran the block together. I taught him how to ride a bike, but you know the real difference is I had a daddy. He ain't have a daddy. And it really showed. Definitely guess if she had an Instagram, she would have #boymom in her bio. You're saying you're a great client lets me know that you're not a great client. That you don't listen. That you talk over people. That's why you're in jail right now probably. They like, yeah, Diddy mama had him in fur coats and hats, making him real dandy because he ain't have a daddy. Open a documentary with footage, which we don't know how Netflix got this footage, but we open it up with footage of him talking to his lawyers about how he needs to fix his public image because court of public opinion is how he's going to get out of this. They put in interview clips of Diddy talking about his dad and how he never got to meet him, and yeah, you got daddyless behavior. Oh my God, y'all gonna have such a good day at work. It's 4 parts, and this is only part 1. Like, and I ain't even told y'all everything in part 1 yet. Boom, this Kirk started telling us all Sean business. He like, yeah, he dropped out of school, and he was like, I'm gonna be a pop culture phenomenon. I'm about to dance in music videos and do what I need to do. He didn't have a daddy, but she was moving and grooving through Harlem, they say. Like, she only had Cadillac, so she was driving through the hood. Al get on the screen, he talking, people talking about Al. They calling him a GQ ass nigga. We get the brief history of Uptown Records, who all worked for it, Diddy working for it for a brief period, him getting fired, all that jazz. They like, yeah, Kim Porter was a receptionist at Uptown Records, but everybody knew that was Al girl. Everybody thought she was beautiful, but Sean was obsessed. There was a lot of sexual music played in her house and a lot of Superfly movies. They like, nobody wanted Diddy dweeb ass. He didn't drink at the time, he didn't smoke, but he wanted Kim and he told everybody he wanted Kim. Like mother like son, Janice knew how to throw a party too. She had pimps, Jet Beauties of the Week, people from the Knicks, and they had a stage in the front room and made the kids perform.
The lesson to be learned here is don't ever, as a grown man, offer to take Hers, 50s, and Jackson shopping ever in your motherfucking life. Because ain't no way this man did a whole 4-part documentary series for Netflix called Sean Combs The Reckoning for the fucking Biddler. I mean, I know he said he was gonna do it, but I didn't even fucking believe him, honestly. And y'all, this documentary is not just about the shit that happened with Cassie, no. This goes deep back into Diddy's fucking childhood, y'all. 50 took it all the way back to from when his father was unalive, from when he was a baby and his mama had him in like some chinchilla coats and shit, to when she was throwing them fucking parties in her house. That's where he got it from. All the way up into him working for Andre Harrell and him having that big basketball event because he was like this big party promoter or whatever, and 9 people were unalive, baby. Did y'all know about that? Because I didn't. They even brought up the unalivings of Biggie and Tupac, and yes, Diddy set that up based on what the fucking documentary said. Allegedly, Diddy put $1 million on Pac's head and only paid about half of it, right? Then they had Keefe D on some fucking tapes on there talking about the whole thing and how it happened, literally admitting to it. Now, allegedly, Diddy also has something to do with Biggie being unalive. Biggie did not want to come out here to LA when it was time to promote his fucking album, and it was planned for him to come out here for a couple of days and then go to the UK, go to London or whatever to promote over there, but fucking Diddy canceled his flight the day he was supposed to leave, and that was the day I think he got unalived, y'all. And I don't know how 50 got his hands on this footage of Diddy six days before he ended up in jail, but apparently Diddy hired a videographer when he came back to New York and spent that time wandering the fucking streets. The funniest part about that was him talking about, I gotta go take a bath after he done been out touching people's hands and shit. That was fucking hilarious. It was a good amount of people on the fucking documentary that were being interviewed. There was Kalima, Aubrey O'Day. They had fucking Albie Shore on there, y'all. So it was a lot of people on there being fucking interviewed, and I think it's really worth the watch. One thing's for certain, two things for sure. 50 Cent is gonna produce something good as fuck. Whether it's a TV show, documentary, movie, I don't give a fuck. The man is gonna do it. I'll say this though, bet no other grown man asked 50 Cent to ever take him shopping. He gonna hold on to that grudge for the rest of his motherfucking life and yours. So don't fucking do it, y'all. But go watch that motherfucking documentary on Netflix. It just came out. Sean Combs, The Reckoning, all right? Bye, TikTok!
Let me tell y'all something right now. That Diddy documentary didn't just make me emotional. It made me angry. Like ancestral level angry. Because I finally realized the level of how much this man took from us. I have already been very vocal about disliking him and the things that he's done. Tupac, Biggie, women, employees, artists, our culture, our history, decades of silence and fear and cover-up, all wrapped into a man that thought he was untouchable. You think I'm angry just because of the crimes? No, I'm angry because of the ripple. You know, like Tupac, Biggie, they weren't just rappers. They were the heartbeat of a generation. They were storytellers, visionaries, men who changed the world every time they dropped a track. And if what these people are saying is true, and it lines up with Keefe D and other people's stories, his ego was bigger than anything else, and that's what took them out. Diddy didn't just rob their fans. He robbed all of us. He robbed a culture of what could have been. And now that this documentary is like dropping witness after witness, people collaborating, the stories of Keefe D's, the details, like suddenly everybody's talking. They're not protecting him anymore. This is what justice looks like when it's been waiting too long, when the truth finally stops being scared. And what pisses me off the most is how many lives were shattered while he was out here creating a brand and building an empire and walking carpets and throwing parties and acting like the world was his goddamn playground. All that power, money, and fame built on the backs of people he hurt and silenced and intimidated and erased and misused their trust. So yes, I want justice. I want justice for Pac. I want justice for Biggie and for the women and the men that he has abused. For the people behind the scenes, for the artists who's lost their careers, for everyone whose life was twisted behind the scenes while we were all distracted by this shiny image of him. And if these charges come the way I think they will, just know karma didn't lose his address. It was just waiting for the right documentary. And I think that part of why this documentary dropped is to cause public pressure to get justice. I'll do a better recap, but this is my instant thoughts after watching it.
I just want to thank Diddy for asking 50 Cent if he could take him on a shopping spree, because I feel like if he did not ask that man that question or insinuate that, then 50 Cent would not have been the executive producer of the Diddy documentary, and we wouldn't have got this amazing piece of work. Like, 50 Cent is easily going to go down as one of the best storytellers of this time. Sean Combs' The Reckoning was such an amazing docuseries. My favorite person that was in the documentary was Mark Curry. They literally asked that man, what do you think about Diddy's skills when it comes to rapping? He was like, he sucks. That man didn't laugh or chuckle. Like, he said that with certainty very quickly. He was even like, throughout the thing when Diddy was like, yeah, we finna go run up in that boy's house and we finna put a hurt, whatever it was. He was talking about how he about to go, like, you know, run up on somebody. Mark was like, okay, bet. I'm gonna be at the studio working on these bars while y'all do that. And when y'all come back, I'm gonna be here working too. Leave me out of it. The most interesting part, though, was episode 4, like when the 2 jurors got up there and started talking, and both of them, well, the woman at least, was talking about how Capricorn Clark was, we just didn't believe her. Like, she seemed very emotional, like maybe her emotions got in the way, and I was like, Capricorn, girl, they calling you a liar, girl. That's what they saying about you. They calling you a liar. Definitely go watch it on Netflix. Go watch the documentary.
Just finished episode 2 of this Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary, and I am a little choked up. This was very emotional for me to watch just because I've always loved Tupac and Biggie so much. I knew they were friends at one point, right? But like, because I was so young, I just kind of enjoyed them for the music and didn't really get too much into the beefs and stuff. So watching this unravel and the way it's been detailed, watching unseen footage, seeing that it was set up because Diddy was just jealous, I will find it difficult to even listen to some of these songs ever again, knowing the intention behind it. Like even that I'll Be Missing You song, knowing that he created that song and had that song ready to go after he set up Big and stole Big's career to elevate his own. And that was after they assassinated Tupac to elevate Biggie. So assassinated Tupac to elevate Biggie and then got rid of Biggie to elevate himself. Wow, what, guys, I don't even have the words. Disgusting is not enough. Treacherous is not enough. Demonic is honestly not enough. Like, beyond sadistic, I don't even have the word. This is sinister, guys. Like, what are the words to even describe this type of shit? Who does this? This man is a psychopath. A psychopath. He tries to come across as this empathetic, friendly, warm individual, but behind the scenes, he is the darkest soul that you could ever come across. He told everyone that he wants to throw the biggest funeral in New York for Biggie and ended up making Biggie pay for his own funeral. He infiltrated people's lives as a friend and manipulated them. And the way that he used Biggie's name to elevate himself, pretending that they were friends, and he'd forced him to get involved with this beef. He forced him to go to LA and stay in LA when he didn't want to stay there. He forced him to give up his cover. It's sad, it's sick, it's sadistic, it's psychopathic. I don't even know if I have the heart to watch the next couple of episodes. Like, this was actually very difficult to digest. Very difficult to digest. And I'm glad Biggie's mom was able to see through Puff's bullshit. I can't believe I'm calling him Puff. Like, Puff Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Diddy, Sean Combs. How about psychopathic, rapist, abusive freak? Like, there are so many other things I want to call this guy. I feel sick. I want to vomit. Like, this is sick.
What's crazy about this is that I thought it was a joke. I didn't think that Netflix and 50 Cent were really going to collaborate to come out with a documentary about Diddy.
You can't continue to keep hurting people and nothing ever happens. Just a matter of time.
This is so much bigger than beef at this point. This is not beef. This is a lifelong vengeance between the going back and forth about baby mamas and now a documentary. Oh my God. And I'm not going to lie, I'm locked in. I want to see it. I actually want to know who's participating in this documentary, who's going to be there. But this is real because both 50 Cent and Netflix have confirmed it. It's happening on December 2nd. I'm actually kind of surprised that Diddy's team wasn't able to put a stop to this because I know he hates this. I thought they would have been able to stop this from happening, but if it's up, it's stuck. And 50 Cent, he always gonna troll Diddy.
Okay, so I just finished Sean Combs' The Reckoning. Woo, Netflix, you did it again. And 50 Cent, I'm going to say a prayer for you. Like, some of that stuff I already knew, but this makes it out to be that Diddy is the devil himself. Like, I think he's responsible for Tupac and Biggie and, like, so many other people. And I don't for a second doubt, like, all the accusations of SA. Like, he was taking ketamine, and, like, how about having his kids by his side all the time? How can all these people come forward with these stories and yet the jury not buy any of it? On top of the fact they weren't sequestered, which I didn't even know that. How do you not sequester a jury for a P. Diddy trial? Like, he has all these people do work for him. He doesn't pay anybody. He grooms everybody. He compared himself to Jesus. Superhuman. Yo, bro, he is just a total whack job. Like, I was never a huge fan of his, but of course, you know, I love the music. And all these men and women that he took advantage of. Evil. Just pure evil. Thank you, 50 Cent, for enlightening us.
Baby, I was already looking at this man sideways, but now I promise you my head don't know where to go. Quite disgusted. The number one thing I love about the study of psychology is the study of patterns and how do these patterns lead down a specific type of path or many type of paths for some people. You can say what you want about 50 Cent, but baby, he got some patterns. I'm only one episode in and I'm like, Florida, I had to take a pause. I was going to go straight into episode 2, but I'm like, I have to get my thoughts together because you already know here on Black Girls Talking TV, we will be discussing the patterns. We're going to be breaking this thing down, honey. I know a lot of people don't want to watch it because they have their thoughts on 50. I will say it is a well done documentary so far. It's not like sleazy and just like F Diddy, F that. It's not that going on. Like, it is most definitely set up and structured like any documentary that you would see. But yeah, Kamaria and I over here at Black Girls Talking TV, we are hoping to have the documentary recap up for you either tomorrow, which would be Wednesday, or Thursday. We'll see. We want to make sure we do it justice and do it right. And so that we want to make sure that we comb through everything and give the recap that it deserves. So yeah, hit that follow button and make sure you go to our YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So check us out. I'll let you know when it's uploaded.
Diddy is pissed about the new documentary that dropped about him today. And let me tell you, in the last 2 years, we have gotten a lot of documentaries about Diddy, but I've never seen him go off like this on any of the other ones. This documentary, which was produced by 50 Cent, does feel very different than all the other ones. If you love documentaries, hit follow because I post daily and you'll never miss out on what's new. Though the other documentaries about Diddy provided a platform for survivors of Diddy to tell their stories, a lot of them had this tabloid feeling to them. This one has a lot of the same information plus a ton of new information, and it feels very grounded. Aside from that, Diddy filmed himself in 2024 prior to his trial, and the filmmakers of this documentary obtained that footage. I don't know if Diddy was planning on using that for something good, and now it's in this documentary about him, which is wild. The filmmakers of this went hard. They found a lot of archival footage, archival photos, interviewed as many people as they possibly could, and they covered a lot of ground. This is really disturbing, and a lot of the stuff talked about in this documentary is really disturbing, and it kind of makes Diddy's conviction horrific. He should have got more time. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments.
Meet Sean. See, Sean's problems started early on. His dad was an associate for Frank Lucas. The film American Gangster with Denzel Washington is about him. Sean's dad gets caught up in a deal that went wrong, so he was... Sean was only 2. Sean's mum and grandma raised him, but this is where it gets interesting. Sean went to Catholic Mount St. Michael Academy in the Bronx. Sean was also an altar boy, so he'd help out in the ceremony, whatever was needed. But in the 80s, there was unspeakable things going on at Mount St. Academy. The FBI were even watching the school, mainly watching the principal, who was called Brother Brady, the chaplain named Reverend Lynch. who was there for 12 years, so the whole time Sean was there. Sean left in 1987, but both of them were charged in 1988. The principal was sentenced, but the Reverend, who was the chaplain, wasn't sentenced. Only one person came forward, and his name was John Schofer. He's in the film Garfield. He couldn't handle the court trial, so he left, and there was no further evidence about the Reverend. In the 90s, the principal got a similar job in Chicago, and the Reverend wrote a book and became the first Catholic priest to have a civil partnership, marrying in 1998 and legally marrying in 2017.
Disturbing, 1,000,000%. Shocking, however, not at all. This is explained in just a girl language. What does that mean? That I'm just a girl, you're just a girl, and this is explained in a way that makes sense to me and hopefully to you too. That being said, everything said is alleged. We're not lawyers, we don't know, no one has been proven guilty, so everything I'm saying is alleged and available for you to find on the internet. Sean Combs is P. Diddy, is Puff Daddy, is Diddy, is PD, is Puffy, is Love. Those are all his nicknames, but his name is Sean Combs. Sean Combs has had allegations, rumors, drama, death, suspicion surrounding him basically since the beginning of his career. By the end of 1993, Sean was around 24 years old when he was given his own label, Bad Boy Entertainment. Bad Boy becomes really successful with rappers like Biggie on the East Coast. On the West Coast, Death Row Records becomes really successful with rappers like Snoop Dogg and Tupac, thus making the West Coast rappers and the East Coast rappers enemies. September 13th, 1996, Tupac dies. His murder remains officially unsolved, but it has been rumored that Sean Combs played a part in that. March 9th, 1997, Biggie Smalls, one of Sean's best friends, was killed in LA. There are also rumors that Sean Combs was at the center of that. Throughout this time and until 2007, Sean would have an on and off relationship with model actress Kim Porter. They had kids together. That was from 1994 to 2007. In between that, Sean would date Jennifer Lopez from 1999 to 2001. In 1999, Sean and J.Lo were involved in an incident where a weapon went off and a woman was badly injured at a New York City nightclub. Sean Combs and J.Lo get arrested. J.Lo is not charged. Sean was charged. Faced trial but was acquitted of all charges. The woman that was injured at the nightclub, however, claims that Sean Combs was the one responsible. Allegedly, she sues Sean Combs. They settle for $130 million. In 2006, Sean hears singer Cassandra Ventura's first single, falls in love with it, signs her to his record label when she's only 19 years old and he's 38. Sean and Cassie get into a romantic relationship that would last until 2018. November 16th, 2023, Cassandra Ventura files a 35-page civil lawsuit against Sean Combs. In the lawsuit, she alleged a few things. First, that he abused her physically, emotionally, and sexually during their relationship, that he blew up Kid Cudi's car, that he tried to kill Suge Knight, who was former CEO of Death Row Records, and that he drugged her to force her to engage in sex acts with male workers, amongst other things. To backtrack, when Cassie and Sean first met before they got romantically involved, Sean was publicly dating Kim Porter and Cassie had a boyfriend of her own. When Cassie was first told that Sean was possibly interested in her, she was disgusted because of their age gap, but Sean was aware of the power dynamic and the control that he had over her because of her career, because she was signed to his record label. Sean would do what he could to get Cassie away from her boyfriend. He would force her to go to parties with him, claiming that they were for the record label, would force her to take pills, do drugs, until she was almost unconscious, more intoxicated than she's ever been, and then he would have sex with her. Sean Combs maintained professional, financial, and sexual control over Cassie, and to make sure that she complied and she did not try to fight anything, he would give her drugs consistently. Cassie said drugs, medications, and were always around, always open, and she described them to be like candy. Cassie began experiencing memory loss due to everything that was in her system, as well as the physical harm that Sean Combs exposed her to, and because Sean wanted to have control over that too, he would have all of Cassie's medical records sent to him instead of her. Throughout their entire relationship, Cassie was covered in bruises and injuries as a result of Sean's behavior to her. To avoid any accusations or questions being asked, Sean would force Cassie to stay locked away in a hotel room or in his home until her injuries went away. There are years of situations and instances showing how violent, aggressive, and controlling Sean Combs was to Cassie, including the 2016 hotel video camera footage in LA showing Cassie attempting to run away, Sean chasing after her. The video is horrendous, you can look it up. Cassie claims not only were the employees and staff that worked for Sean aware of what was happening, but essentially they helped him cover all of it up. Now we get to the arrangements that Sean Combs calls freak-offs. The first time this happened was months into him and Cassie's relationship. Sean Combs hired a man, brought him to his house in LA, directed the man to perform acts with his girlfriend as they all wore masquerade masks. Sean Combs played himself as he watched, and he recorded the acts. Sean Combs would demand these freak-offs all of the time at random times at his residences or at hotel rooms that he would destroy. His staff would be responsible for facilitating these freak-offs, flying sex workers in and out of the cities. If Sean requested a specific person, his staff would provide making sure that there were more than enough for everyone. And the freak-offs got so intense, so violent, and disgusting that it was common practice afterwards for Cassie to get IV fluids in the following days plural, to recover from the extensive that were pushed onto her. Almost every single freak-off was recorded by Sean Combs. Cassie was reportedly repulsed by Sean's actions in the freak-offs, but she was so petrified of him she felt as if she could not refuse. One time in 2015, following a freak-off, Cassie and Sean meet Cassie's friends at a hotel room. One of her friends says something that angers Sean. He grabs her friend, drags her over to the balcony, and dangles her by her ankle over the balcony of the 17th floor hotel suite. Cassie was reportedly so sedated from the freak-off that she was unable to respond to Sean's terrifying behavior. It was also common practice for Sean Combs to gift Cassie presents following a freak-off as his way of apologizing, I guess. At one point, Sean had given her so many designer bracelets that Cassie claimed she felt shackled by his presence. Believe it or not, that is not even scratching the tip of the iceberg of what Cassandra Ventura mentioned in her lawsuit against Sean Combs. But she files the lawsuit in 2023. They settle overnight, just one day after the case is settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. But it seems like that just opened up floodgates for what Sean Combs would be accused of. In March of this year, 2024, Homeland Security agents show up with search warrants at his residences in both Miami and LA. They raid his houses, leaving with a massive amount of physical evidence. Monday, September 16, 2024, rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs is arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York. He's charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay, so the 14-page indictment detailing the charges against Sean Combs has been unsealed, meaning we now know or have a better idea, allegedly, of what the prosecution, the Southern District of New York, thinks they will be able to prove in federal court. Also interesting that this is happening in federal court, because I think charges in federal court carry harsher punishments than if this was happening in, say, a state court. And that court, specifically the Southern District of New York, their conviction rate is 95%, meaning when they go after someone or when they choose to file a case, it's pretty safe to say that they feel confident in the evidence that they have and that they have done their homework. The day after he gets arrested, during a hearing, Sean Combs pleads not guilty. With his charges, he's facing a minimum of 15 years to life in prison. The indictment, which by the way is available for you if you just Google it, you can read it, the 14 pages, basically discusses in details the charges, the allegations, the incidents described, witness testimonies, and legal proceedings indicating potential next steps from the prosecution and or the defense. The first paragraph of said indictment says, for decades, Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, aka P. Diddy, aka Diddy, aka PD, aka Love, the defendant, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on the employees, resources, and the influence of multi-business empires that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, amongst other crimes, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Now, Combs Enterprises is a company founded by Sean Combs. It's the umbrella company, and under it are different businesses and investments. From music, fashion, marketing, film, television, media, etc. A lot of businesses are housed under the umbrella that is Combs Enterprises. Based on the indictment, although no one else is named besides Sean Combs, allegations mentioned in the indictment match up almost exactly with previous civil lawsuits against Sean Combs, including Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. Even though no other people are named, if you know or if you have heard from people who have filed lawsuits against Sean, you can kind of see what victims or instances were the basis of the charges now. We also know that the government has conducted interviews with over 50 victims and witnesses, and they have stated that they only continue that number to grow. The government has also seized more than 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, hard drives, thumb drives, cameras, surveillance systems that they have said show criminal activity. The racketeering conspiracy charge is basically saying that there is a group of people involved in organized crime. The freak-offs are specifically mentioned in detail, including Sean's actions in the freak-offs and how his employees helped to facilitate them. His employees allegedly were responsible for booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking them with supplies such as baby oil, lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, his staff helped clean it up. The indictment states that the freak-offs happened often, sometimes even lasted days, and it points out that the victims were given to keep them obedient and compliant. During the raids of his houses in Miami and LA, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, which you can imagine what those were. Also, just recently, I saw a video late last night of, apparently, I didn't fact check this, but secret tunnels found underneath Sean's house. And I saw that those secret tunnels led to 6 locked rooms. I don't know if that's true, but if so, that's terrifying. That's a little info on the prosecution, what they believe that they can prove and the evidence that they have, etc. Now, the defense team, they tried their hardest to get Sean Combs out on bail. They provided a bail package to the court stating why Sean Combs should be released awaiting trial. In their bail package, they were proposing a lot of things, but they were proposing a $15 million bond. They claim that Sean Combs has been cooperative. They stated that he was apparently in town because he knew that there were charges being filed against him. And that was his way of saying, look, I'll cooperate, I won't flee, I won't run away, I'm not gonna try and leave. They also proposed that he would surrender his passport as a way to further say that he was not going to try and flee and he just wanted to be in house arrest. His defense team also said that the raids, the way they raided his houses, was a little bit unnecessary. And at the end of their letter, they wrote, Sean Combs has never evaded, avoided, eluded, or ran from a challenge in his life. He will not start now. As he has handled every hardship, he will meet this case head on. He will work hard to defend himself and he will prevail. The prosecution also writes a letter to the judge further explaining their side as to why Sean should not be let out on bail. They're saying, cool, he wants to be on house arrest. Well, a lot of the crimes have happened inside of his house, so that's not really going to do anything for us. And in their letter, they're saying, look at what he has done. Look at the nature of his crimes that are violent and serious, because they are showing the lengths that Sean Combs will go to get what he wants. They say if he is released, he remains a serious risk of flight. And most glaringly, Sean Combs also poses a significant risk of obstructing justice. Obstructing justice, I think, means that they're trying to say if he gets out, he has the chance to try and destroy evidence, to get rid of evidence, to talk to people, maybe witnesses, to try and hide more information, try to pay people off to stay quiet. If he gets out, he might do something to get in the way of the case, basically. Sean Combs has been denied bail twice now, and the trial is probably so far away. I don't think it's going to be a trial that we get to see on TV. I'm pretty sure the federal court does not allow audio or video recording in court, so I don't think that we will directly see any part of his trial. As far as who is involved, who has been to his parties but just attended the parties versus who has taken and can be held responsible for participating in the criminal activities, I mean, there are names being thrown out left and right, but I think that it all just depends on the digital evidence. Because imagine in federal court, someone is trying to prove something and they have video to prove that. I don't really see how you'll be able to argue against that. I don't know, pretty crazy though. I didn't do like a deep dive, I just wanted it to explain in literally like just a girl terms to make it, I think, easier for you guys to understand if you were having a hard time. I know there's so many things about this all over social media, but Sean Combs sucks. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for spending time with me today. It's 6:30 in the morning. I work a real job, so if I want to film, sometimes I have to film at 6:30 in the morning. Love you guys so much. Go do something to make you happy, make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you.
Bro, I did not think this documentary was gonna get crazier, but like,
it was a little under 2 days, maybe 18
bro,
20 hours. And they gave me about $6,000.
this is wild.
Oh, you do have money on you.
This is the craziest shit I've ever heard right here. Watch this. Watch this shit. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen.
You know we doing what we plan to do, girl. I went to see them every 2-3 weeks. I was involved in this for a little over 8 years.
What?
The weirdest thing was they used to physically collect my semen in a cup. They collected my semen for like a year. It was creepy from the beginning, but after a while, I just said, yo, what are you doing with my semen? They told me, I like to see her play with it and drink it. He's like, what's wrong with that? I was like, you know, to each his own. Me and my girl are out on a Friday night.
Wild. This is wild.
But after that, they never asked me about it again. They never collected it. This is me every first